I told my cousin, you only got pregnant to trap a man into staying with you. And it didn't go over well. Hey guys, this is my story from 7 years ago. It happened around the time when I first moved to Vegas. I have a cousin who has 7 kids, and since I'd just moved, I hadn't seen them since the youngest was in diapers. Now, this cousin also has a sister who has exactly 1 child. For that 1 kid, she gets food stamps, child support, and she doesn't fricking work. She's the kind of person who trades their food stamps for cash and blows her money on stupid crap like trips to California and green herb to smoke. She literally only cares about someone if she can use them. As a contrast, my cousin with the 7 kids works her butt off. She's a little embarrassed that she gets government help because she feels responsible for having all 7 of her children. But no matter how hard she works, she really only just makes enough for the bills, and the food stamps she gets buys just enough food to last a month. Growing kids eat a lot, if you didn't know that already. Mind you, I was 20, turning 21. And I always had a fair bit of money left after every paycheck. My bills were paid on time, and I'd help my mother out from time to time as well. We visited the kids one day, and the 3rd youngest told me that Christmas was coming, but he is excited that they get to eat good food on Christmas. These kids live off ramen and ravioli. Hearing him say this shattered my heart. All of her kids are well behaved for the most part, and they deserve a good Christmas. I started asking them what they wanted. In order from oldest to youngest, Dax wanted headphones and a new sweater, Jen wanted a sweater and nail polish, Darren wanted a football and cake, JR wanted a soccer ball and cake, and Zed wanted Transformers and Power Rangers, whilst Nana wanted a My Little Pony. Jay wanted anything Paw Patrol. Obviously, I've changed their names here. So I talk to my cousin in Spanish, since the kids don't understand it yet, and I tell her how I'll take Christmas off, and how I want to take the kids for her. She looked like she wanted to cry. She thanked me and told me she'd try to pay me back. I told her no, and then she stated she'd pick up an extra shift because she still wanted to get them something. So I got paid, and I gave myself a $40 limit per child. I got each kid 2 big presents from Walmart, and with the remaining money, I got them all extra small stuff from the dollar store. Her kids appreciate everything you get them. The 2 that wanted cake, they got cake. I even put a bow on that thing, and we hid it behind the milk and eggs in the fridge. Now, I guess my cousin told her sister, because I got a call from her sister, and this is how the conversation went. She rang up and said, "Hey, Chris told me you're doing Christmas for her kids." I said, "Yeah, they're spending Christmas Eve at my house. Mum's cooking dinner and we're opening presents the next morning. Surely you have room for one more? Are you talking about your kid?" "Of course I am." "Alright, no problem. Drop him off on Christmas Eve night so that he can eat and watch movies, and then you can pick him up the next morning." "No problem." Mind you, after buying the kids their presents and my parents theirs, I was a little broke. The entitled cousin had called me the day before Christmas Eve, so I scrounged what I could and I got her kid some dollar store toys. Christmas Eve comes and my mum picks up the 7 and brings them to the house. They're flabbergasted by the presents under the tree and in the stockings with their names. The older ones goofing about who got what. I wait an hour or 2 and my cousin never brings her kid. So we feed the kids and start watching movies. After about 3 movies, all of the kids pass out due to food comas. The next morning we wake up and there's no word from my entitled cousin. The kids start diving into their presents. JR and Darren have some Christmas cake and they share with their siblings. Everything is in full swing. Then there's a banging on the door. I open it and I'm not really happy. "Why the frick are you banging on my door? Oh, it's you guys. Why didn't you bring your kid last night?" My cousin says, "Watch your mouth. I got busy and I couldn't make it." I'm smelling bullcrap at this point and I roll my eyes. "You've said worse stuff in front of your kid. You want to come in?" "Sorry, we don't have time. Can we just get his presents, his meal, and go?" "His meal?" "Yeah, your mum cooked." "Yeah, she cooked last night. You were busy and the kids ate it all." "You didn't save my kid a plate?" "Well, you never bought him, so no." "Whatever, just give us his present." Her child looks like he wants to stay and play. I felt bad for her kid. I walked in and swam through the wrapping paper until I got to his presents. They were small, so I'd put them in a gift bag. He opened them on my porch and his eyes lit up. "Whoa, a ninja, a wrestler. Ooh, silly putty. I got a puzzle. I love this. Thank you, Momo." That's what my nephews call me. I got a little glomp and I hugged him back and said Merry Christmas. My cousin, meanwhile, "That's it?" I gave her a look, trying to compose myself. My witch meter was rising. So I said, "What do you mean? How much did you spend on them?" "That's really none of your business. You know, you're selfish. You bought him these cheap toys so you could buy Chris and her kids all that crap. Let my kid have one of each of their toys so it's fair." And then my witch meter explodes. "Are you insane?" I close the door and cover her kid's ears. "It's Christmas. Be glad I bought anything at all. You only ever call us when you want something. You rob your son of a good time because you only care about yourself. It's not fair to him. You spend your money on bullcrap when you have a whole child to care for. You only have one child, and because you milk your baby daddy, that poor soul pays loads of money for his son, but you spend that money on your nails and green herb. How about you act your age and be responsible for once?" She looks shocked. "Who do you think you are?" "I'm a woman who didn't try to trap a man by getting pregnant on purpose. A woman who doesn't get assistance but pays taxes, so lazy witches like you can feed your kid. The woman that bought your kid Christmas presents because I wasn't selfish like his mother." This lady looked like she wanted to hit me. She would have swung if my mum hadn't come outside. She's intimidated by my mum, so she takes her child and leaves. She later ended up moving to Chicago to mooch off her mother. I hope her kid's okay and that he doesn't pick up her horrid habits. Late update, I talked to my cousin with the 7 kids and she got a hold of her mother in Chicago. The child is taller now, damn his genes, and his grandmother now has legal custody of him. His mother was in trouble with the law. As a surprise, it wasn't substance-related, and she's serving time and lost her custody. His father lives here in Las Vegas, and he can't afford to take care of him, since he's struggling to take care of himself. The cousin is planning a trip to save his allowance so he can come and visit us. I gave him $250 to help. Was I a jerk for calling my cousin out like that? Nope, at least you made sure that the kid in question didn't hear you or took measures to minimize that. I honestly don't know how some people like this can justify their behavior to themselves. I think a part of the judgment on her rests on whether she didn't take the kid based on spontaneous laziness, or whether she had planned to do this the whole time just to score a free gift. I mean, she's a pretty lousy parent either way, and it looks like social services agreed with me on that count. But inconveniencing a bunch of other people just to score free food and presents that you didn't even plan to let your kid enjoy a celebration for is just so simultaneously lazy and crappy. At least her kid sounds like he's maybe a little better than his mum. Hopefully, free from her influence, he can grow up to be a well-adjusted and decent guy who learns from her mistakes. It sure sounds like he's got a rough deal if his dad can't afford to see him either. This did make me remember how, as a kid, you're so darn appreciative of the cheapest bargain bin toys. Much like the one kid, up until my early teens, I would be beyond stoked with a piece of plastic from the bargain bin store. I think it shows maybe the extent of the other aunt's financial hardship that the kids actually wanted sweaters. Actually wanting warm clothing instead of just having it automatically would give one an appreciation that most of us don't get until we move out of home. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, linked below. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. We find some cash in the sea, and an awful woman tries to use her kid to claim the bounty. They get sweet, sweet karma. I live in Australia where we have some really nice beaches. This beach we normally go to isn't too dumpy, but it's mainly good for swimming in the deeper parts. The facilities are really good. I'd say that most of the time it's upper middle class people who go there, plus surfers in other parts of the beach. So of course we have our fair share of entitled people and parents. On to the story. The forecast said it would be an absolute scorcher on that day, maximum of 42 degrees Celsius, which is about 107 for you Americans. My family decided to go to the beach that day to cool off. Me and my sister were swimming in the sea when we noticed something floating on top of the sea that wasn't foam from the waves. Sister and I both saw it, but I was closer. It was still fairly deep in the water, so it couldn't have been there long, which will be important later. My sister tells me to grab it for her. I went out to grab it, and it was a Ziploc bag. She and I swam closer to the shore to look at it, and we weren't prepared for what was in there. $120 in cash, mostly in 20s and 10s. This is in Australian dollars, so that's about 85 US bucks or 65 pounds in 2018, for those using these currencies. But don't quote me on that, as it probably isn't 100% accurate. I'm pretty much guessing. The Ziploc bag had pretty much nothing else in it. No wallet, so we couldn't trace the cash to a person. Anyway, my sister and I went back to where Mum and Dad were sitting on the beach, thinking about what to do. If this had been like $10 or something, divide the above by 12 for reference in other currencies, we probably would have kept it. But this was a lot of money. Someone was probably looking to reclaim it. Dad said, "Damn, how much is in there?" My sister said, "There's like $120. Alright, you better look for who owned it then. Why don't you two go and hand it in to the lifeguards? We walk to the lifeguards and I catch this lady sitting near them eyeing us and the Ziploc bag. "Excuse me, we're looking to hand this in for someone to claim if they're missing it." The lifeguard says, "We'll keep it safe." I was feeling kind of insecure with that lady now, so I decided to keep an eye on the lifeguard station for anyone. Sure enough, she didn't even wait 2 minutes to get in there. I was too far away to overhear anything, but I was sure it was about the money. A second lifeguard walked over to us with the lady in tow. So she's claiming she lost the money in this Ziploc bag a while ago. We were wondering if you could link the money back to her." My sister confirms there was no identifying feature on the Ziploc to trace it. "Okay, where did you find it? It probably would have washed up with some other stuff if it was a while ago." I say, "It was the dumping ground over there." The first lifeguard chimes in. Couldn't have been there long then, otherwise time would have made sure it got washed up on shore." My dad said, "Strange that she's claiming it then, considering she's completely dry." The mother says, "1 second. After a minute, she comes back with her kid who's about 9 and soaking wet. The kid says, "I must have dropped it while I was out there." His mum begins again, "Please give us the money. I was going to go and buy him an ice cream and some video games." The lifeguards are looking suspicious at this point. "We can't really give you the money unless we can conclusively prove that you had it." She's looking at the bag and sees that one of the notes has a tear in it and whispers to her child, "I think one of the notes has a tear in it from what I can remember." Lifeguard 1 inspects the bag. "Okay, that proves you own the money. Here you go. We'll just get your number as a reference." They get her number, and she walks away whispering to her kid, probably congratulating him. Then they break into a run. 15 minutes later, this other guy approaches the first lifeguard. "G'day, I've lost some money in a Ziploc bag. It was about $120, I think." "Oh, we've just had this lady claim it. Can you prove it's yours?" He was annoyed. Yeah, it has my number on the bottom. I have my phone, so you can call it." My sister and I hadn't noticed this number on it. The lifeguards have this, "oh poop" look on their face. "Alright, we'll try calling her." He puts her on speakerphone. I can see her walking onto the beach with her kid holding an ice cream. Someone else is actually claiming the money. Can you come back?" I'm actually driving back home now, sorry, so I can't. Goodbye." "Oh, that's strange, considering I can still see your bag here." My sister points her out on the beach and we all confront them. The lifeguards look angry about how she lied. "Why don't you hand us the bag, miss?" She does, but it has about $30 left in it. The first lifeguard calls the number on the bottom of the bag and it works, proving him to be the rightful owner. The second one turns to the lady. "You stole this cash." "Oh, that's just a coincidence. He just wants my money." While the kid is screaming, "Mummy, I want another ice cream." This devolves into a screaming match with the entitled mother and her kid versus the lifeguards, the unlucky dude, me and my sister. So I'll skip it because nothing substantial happened here. Finally, lifeguard 1 takes conclusive action. "Alright, we're calling the cops. This is a criminal case of theft. You'll be compensating him for the money you spent, plus extra." He calls the police. "I won't be doing any such thing. If the police arrive, I'll just tell them that guy paid you to say this. Frick you, you piece of crap." The unlucky guy is just looking pretty shook by this point. The lady literally attempts to run off with her kid and the money, but gets caught by the lifeguards who are 10 times fitter than the whale-sloth hybrid that she is. The police arrive and she's arrested. The second lifeguard turns to the guy. "Oh, I'm sorry we couldn't give you all your money back." That's fine. Thanks so much to you two for helping me find the money and for standing up for me," he says to my sister and I. This guy, being the absolute lad that he is, gives us $5 each. If you're reading this, you're a bloody legend, mate. The story ends with the unlucky guy getting paid $150 by this lady, plus the money she didn't spend of the original $120, and the lady received a fine for theft, and would you believe it, resisting arrest. In short, me and my sister find $120 in the sea and hand it to the lifeguards like the good people that we really aren't. This mother and her kids see this as an opportunity to claim the cash. They get away with it and spend most of the money, but then the rightful owner comes and they refuse to hand it over. Evolves into a screaming match with this lady getting arrested, all while her kid moans for another ice cream. Unlucky dude gets his money back, and more. Being the legend he is, he gives some to us. First of all, I'm really sorry for the pseudo-Australian, Kiwi, British accents I was doing, folks. Yeah, the woman here is unquestionably the jerk, although in fairness, I think we all know any number of people who would have claimed the money just on the assumption that nobody was ever going to claim it. I don't condone it, but there are legitimately grown adults who seem to live by the playground rules of finders keepers, losers weepers. That said, I don't know many that would resist police arrest to keep their ill-gotten gains. And I know for a fact that some of them would give up the moment it was clear that no one believed them. They'd shoot their shot, accept the fact that they were no worse off than before, and continue on with their lives. This lady lied, kicked, and screamed every inch of the way, going so far as to pretend she wasn't there when she very blatantly was still on the beach, and she suspected that she was about to be caught. What did she even spend $90 on in 15 minutes next to a beach? Was that just a convenient crystal dealer in the car park or something? She might simultaneously be the most entitled and efficient petty criminal I've heard of in quite some time. That's a well-deserved fine and sentence for her. It annoys me even more that she got her kid in on the scam. Hopefully with her well-punished example, the young one will realize that this sort of crime is better off avoided. Am I the jerk for leaving my in-laws' house with my daughter after she told me she was feeling uncomfortable? I've been with my fiancé for 2 years. We're getting married soon, and I've only met her family a couple of times. My daughter, Judy, who's 16, has never met them till very recently, where they hosted dinner to celebrate the 4th of July, and that's when they met her for the first time. Judy has a visible burn scar on her forehead. It was due to an accident she was in when she was 9. She used to be incredibly insecure about it, to the point where I was forced to homeschool her, and it was hard trying to deal with and navigate through this rough time. Now she's doing a lot better, though some comments can really cause her to become stressed out and anxious. My fiancé knows all that and normally respects it. Before we went to her parents' house, I asked her to tell them about Judy and her struggle and to get them to try not to say anything negative about it or possibly even mention it. She said she'd guarantee that no one will say anything. We got to the event and they talked to Judy, and she slowly warmed up to them. Everything was going well until it was dinner time. My future mother-in-law looked at Judy while she was eating and pointed at her scar. Basically started asking questions about it, which made Judy lose her appetite and start to get uncomfortable. I kept sending my fiancé and her mum signs to knock it off, but to no avail. Finally, my future mother-in-law brought up the wedding and asked my fiancé if it would be possible to, quote, Photoshop the scar out of any wedding photos, any that would have Judy in them, just in case they would distract viewers. I was dumbfounded. My fiancé said nothing, just stared casually while nodding. I looked at Judy and it was clear that this was getting to her. I leaned closer and asked if she was feeling uncomfortable and said that we could leave if the answer was yes. She took her time and then nodded and said, "Yes, I'm feeling uncomfortable right now." I got up and told her to get ready because we were leaving. My fiancé, her mum, and the family started insisting we finish dinner and stay, but I refused. I took Judy and got in the car and left before even talking to my fiancé. Obviously, she was angry. She called and was angry talking about how I disrespected her parents by taking Judy and leaving in the middle of dinner and not even saying goodbye. I told her that Judy was feeling uncomfortable with future mother-in-law's comments and questions. My fiancé then said Judy overreacted and needs to go back to therapy if simply mentioning her scar causes her to react that way. I got tired of arguing and asked her to give us some time, but she went off on me and said that I have no respect for her and her family and that what I did was irrational and now she won't speak to me till I clear things up with her family, after ruining their celebratory dinner. She later justified it as a joke, saying her mum didn't mean it that way and didn't know that this was going to happen. I disagree because I already told her about how Judy feels about it, and that request was ignored. Well, unfortunately, it seems like the person who posted this had no further updates after the incident here. I really hope that they didn't go forward with the marriage without some serious conversations about respecting the subject. But there are a series of pretty glaring red flags on display that I feel inclined to point out. Them not appropriately briefing your parents on the topic after assuring you that they had, and implying that they might be fine photoshopping the scar out and leaving your daughter to infer that your fiancé thought she was ugly because of it, saying that the author and daughter were disrespecting her family, despite the examples I've just given of her not showing proper respect or even basic human decency in a sensitive subject. And finally, passing it all off as a joke when it was clear how many scores of lines she and her family had crossed. Look, we all make mistakes, but when you realize you're in the wrong, respect your partner enough to admit your fault and have some damn accountability. Loading all of this on them and saying that they're stupid for not getting the joke is just so darn toxic. The situation makes me sad, and as I said, I'm hoping that there was counseling or a breakup here before the wedding went ahead for the daughter's sake. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories. Or if you want to check out some great music, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot. Everything linked in the description.